everyone, welcome to my Flosstube channel, Thread the Needle. My name is Vani and I'm from Newfoundland, Canada. To those of you who are here for the first time, welcome. This is my Flosstube channel where I talk about all things cross-stitch, all things that I do cross-stitch, which is mainly full coverage. And for those of you who have been here for a while, welcome back. I'm glad you could join us again. Me. I'm glad you could join me again. Now, I'm going to, jump right in and start talking about the last couple of weeks of stitching that I have done. I am happy to say that I got a good bit done and a good bit of variety done. Sorry, excuse me, I'm just turning down the volume on my phone so that we don't get interrupted. Now, as per normal, shall we get started with my 3 focus pieces of the year? Now, to be perfectly honest with you, one of the reasons that one of them was a focus piece was because it was the mystery sale, and but now that it's not a mystery anymore, I'm almost wondering, do I want it to stay as a focus piece for the year, or should I just include it in my regular rotation and it'll get worked on during the rotation anyway? So I'm still debating on that, what I want to do on that, but there's not very many months left in the year anyway, which is kind of shocking that we're almost at the end of 2021, but we'll get to that later. So first off, let's start with my focus pieces of the year. As per normal, we have 3 focus pieces of the year that I'm starting with. I have my Ganesha, which is my tried and true, one of my favorite pieces to work on. I've been working on it for a very long time. And this is what the finished piece is going to look like. So lovely, so beautiful, and I always enjoy working on it. And this is what I'm going to show you. I'm going to do the side-by-side picture again, the before and after, because I feel that worked really well the last couple of videos. And then I'm going to show you how much I've got done on it. So here is how much I've got done on Ganesha. It's stitched on 2/1 22 count fabric. And here's a close-up of how much I got done. I got that diagonal completed. Isn't that beautiful? And it just filled out so nicely. So I'm really looking forward to getting into the next diagonal, which should be a lot of fun. So that is one done. Next, we move on to the Siamese fighting fish, which is by Anita on her Etsy store and on Instagram. She is 1 stipple 2 stitch, and I've made a nice bit of progress on that. I actually had to move my Q-snap for like the first time in forever. I'm gonna show a before picture, but I actually finished this diagonal and started working on the second diagonal, which is kind of cool. So all this white you see right here, that's all glow in the dark floss. So that was kind of cool. But I'm so excited that I got to actually move the Q-snap on this. So if I take this off, this is actually how much I've got done. So that's actually a nice bit of work done on that. It was really exciting to actually finish a diagonal, move on to the next, and realize that I didn't have space and I had to move my Q-snap. So how fun is that? This is being done on 28 count 1/1, and I'm really enjoying it. It is slow going, and I think I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that it's so much of one color or anything like that. I think the thing that's really slowing me down is the fabric count that I chose, the 28 count. I always find 28 count very slow. I'm a very slow stitcher on that because the 1/1 I have to be more careful with my stitching, and so I find myself very slow on the 28 count. But I still enjoy working on that one a lot. Now, on to my 3rd focus piece of the year, which I'm half debating, should I not call it a focus piece anymore and just say, you know what, it's just a piece that I'm working on, that it's going to be in my WIP pile. I think I'll stick with it for another couple of months until the end of the year, and then next year it'll go into my regular WIP pile until it is finished. So this one is the Mystery Cell by Cross Stitch Studio. And it was a mystery cell until they decided to make it a non-mystery anymore because they were having some technical difficulties with sending out the pages singly. So they decided to send the whole thing, and here is what this adorable beauty is going to be like. It's just so cute. So this is our owl, and as I put up what I had done before, this is how much I have done now. So you can't really tell because it's, the shading is, oh, that lighting is horrible for it. Let's see. There we go. So this is how much I've got done. You can see I'm filling in the diagonals nicely, and I'm still doing cross country, but filling in the diagonals as I go, and it's filling out slowly. I find their charts are very confetti heavy, but the end result is so beautiful. I think recently they just did a post on their Facebook website where they kind of did a little video clip of the picture of the chart and then a mock-up of the chart, but the mock-up was not a mock-up, it was an actual stitched version of the pictures that they were showing, and you couldn't tell the difference. The charting was done so beautifully, and I have to say that that is why there's so much confetti, because the end result will be just like the picture that you were given. So ideally, this little guy is going to show up and turn out to be like exactly like the owl in the picture that they gave us. And I'm not complaining. Yes, it can be a little frustrating because it's really hard to see your progress, but that is why I count my stitches. So I know every time I pick this up, I've put in the number of stitches that I want to. So rather than seeing my progress, I can count my progress, and then I know for sure that I'm getting it done. Because I find with cross-country stitching, which is what I did with this one, instead of only doing cross-country in the diagonal, I kind of did it in the diagonal, but then I finished whatever was left in the page. So yes, it is filling out diagonally, however, it's still filling out the page here. And I find when I'm doing cross-country like that, it's really hard to see how much progress you've made, which is why I prefer the diagonal cross-country stitching, because you can actually see the progress. But with this, it was just faster because there's some stitches, because of the confetti heaviness of it, I find that it's just worth it for my time and energy and the amount of floss that I put on my needle to just finish all like the 10 stitches that are spread out over the page rather than just the 1 or 2 in the diagonal. So that's why I chose to do it that way. And I find definitely counting my stitches helps me a lot, and I'll go more into detail on that when I get to my next into my discussion on my whips rotation. So my whips, or my works in progress, I think it was a couple of videos ago, I explained how I was going to change up my rotation, and I was no longer going to have any UFOs, which are unfinished objects. All my whips, anything that I have started in the past, how long have I been stitching full coverage now solidly? I'm gonna say 12 years or so. I'm not gonna have any UFOs anymore. They're all gonna go in my whip pile, and I'm just going to go one after the other, rotate through them for my rotation. And each time I fall on one, I'm going to stitch between 400 to 500 stitches. I felt that was a good solid number to stitch on to get some progress done before I went to the next name on the list. And that has what I've been doing, because I know there will be some days that I may not get a chance to put in any stitches in. I could be tired. I could just not be in the mood, because we all know sometimes we lose our stitchy bug. And then all of a sudden it'll come back, or you get a really lucky day when all the housework is done and you have nothing else to do. All you can do is stitch all day, and then you get a whole bunch of stitching done, which luckily I had a couple of those. And then also I'm going to discuss my mystery project. I'm going to try to be a little sneaky about it because hubby is home today, but I don't think he's really paying attention to what I'm doing here today. So it's the silver project, and I'm not going to show it today because I feel like it would be more exciting if I showed it at the end of the month. I've decided to use that as my daily 100 plus project, and it has been going well. Also very confetti heavy. However, I'm hoping that that means that the end result is going to turn out to be fabulous. But It is also a 28 count fabric, which I know I struggle with. And the reason I chose 28 count for the silver project and the Siamese fighting fish is because the finished piece is so large that I didn't want a huge piece on my wall. I wanted a decent, normal sized piece. And also I wanted to be able to finish it. But anyway, I'm going off track. So the silver project, I am continuing to stitching on it. I'm trying to get, I call it daily 100 plus because I actually have to get more than 100 done a day in order to meet my deadline of being able to finish it when I want to finish it. So fingers crossed, everyone send your good thoughts and good wishes and speedy needles my way so that I can get it done. I just want to get a good solid number done on it every month so that I'm closer to my goal of finishing it on time to get it framed for when I need it. Now, let's move on to my, let's go. All right, so we have next, sorry, I thought I had this in order. I wanted to go in order of how I had done it, but it's not really working, is it? All right, let's just do this. Okay. Next up is my first piece in the Deadly Sins series, and I'm working on Avarice. And look at that beauty. Isn't she just gorgeous? I really love her. And she came up in my rotation, and I was happy to do it because I absolutely love working on this piece. I don't know, I just get really excited because there's just so much detail in this one piece. Like you can see the marble texturing, and I think that's like a Baroque curtain behind her. So that is what you're seeing coming out there. And yeah, so I think I just really enjoy it so much. And as you can see from my before picture, I was able to almost finish the diagonal that I am working on. So I'm really, really enjoying this. I love every time that this one comes up in my rotation. And so based on how many works in progress I have on my list, it's gonna be a while until it comes back into rotation, but that's okay. That means I get to work on all the other ones, all the other good stuff. Next is a work in progress of Prelude to a Kiss, which used to be a really, really old work in progress. And I don't know if I have I'm gonna go into my app so I can get you a picture of it. It is a really old piece that I started working on, and then when I decided that I was not gonna have any UFOs anymore, that I wanted to have kind of no UFOs, I wanted to put all of them in my work in progress rotation so that they all get worked on at some point. This one came out of hiding, and I've been working on it every once in a while. This is Prelude to a Kiss by Jo Wall, or Josephine Wall. It's a beautiful piece. There's so much detail in this. And what I found is really cool about her pieces is you will find sometimes, if you look really, really hard, she has hidden faces in her paintings. And you have to have a keen eye, and you have to be looking really hard for them, but they're there, and they come out in this too sometimes if you're looking really hard. So here's what I'm going to put up the before, but here's the after of what I've got done. So mostly it has been kind of filling in the holes that I had left from previously, and then bringing the stitches into here. So here's how much I've got done there now, and you will see all the detail that is coming out. It is just beyond fabulous. I mean, you guys, can you see in this page alone, can you see the guy right here? He's holding the banjo, and then you can see the shape of the banjo coming out, and then his hand. The details are amazing in a Jo Wall piece, and to be able to stitch it. And really with her pieces, I find that while you're stitching, you're never gonna know what you're working on. Like, it is so detailed and so intricate that not until you take it out of your Q-snap can you see. And then so we've got This is actually another face in here, but the guy holding the banjo, his head is actually here. And then if you look really, really hard, there is another face hidden right here. Okay, it can be really hard to see, but it's there, okay? And then let me see if I can find another detail for you. I don't know, I can't off the top of my head, but those are the ones that really picked up for me. I'm calling it a banjo, but it's probably a guitar of some sort. I'm not very musical, sorry about that. But I just love it. I love how much detail comes out in this one. It is absolutely beautiful. Now, we move on to one of my regular, normal, colorful pieces. This one is Autumn Owl Trio, and it is just filled with a lot of yummy colors. And you guys, I have a diagonal finish on this one too. So here it is, look at that. Now the next time I get to come in on the eye, I think we'll get more. That orange is really hard to stitch. So what I did, in order to help me, whenever I have a piece like this in a diagonal that has so much of one color, but then a whole bunch of detail here, like this one, or even Ganesha, what I'll do is I'll take one length of floss of the solid color, I'll stitch it, and then instead of continuing with that, I'll stitch on some color. And then the next time when I finish one symbol in the colorful area, then I'll go back to the solid stitching, then back and forth until I finish the boring stuff. I find that way it keeps my interest going and I don't feel like I have to put it down. So this one I actually did more than 400 to 500 because I was so close to finishing the diagonal, so I just said, you know what, I'm just going to finish it off and then put it away. So I got the diagonal done and I'm super happy. This is the end of that page, but I'm just going to continue my diagonals down. So I'll stop like right here. I'll feather my stitches on the end here, but I'll keep stitching downwards rather than my diagonals just getting longer and longer because the piece goes this way, right? So I'll just, this is the end of the page, so we'll just feather them as we come here, but then the diagonals will still keep going downwards. And that's the plan for Autumn Owl Trio. Next is another one of my lovelies. You guys, I just love working on this one so much. And you know what? I don't even mind that this is the second time I'm stitching it because I lost the first one. I have no idea where it went. Somehow between, I honestly cannot explain. Between moving houses, moving provinces, somewhere along the way it got lost. I was really upset for a little while and then I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna think about it, I'm gonna do it again. And so I am. And it's actually a small piece. This is Enchanted Garden and it's actually a small piece. It's retired now. It was part of their the Heaven and Earth Designs bulletin board mystery sale. So unfortunately it's not available anymore, but I am lucky enough to have it and I'm able to stitch it again. And I got so much done. This is so exciting. Okay, are you ready? So here's the before. And here is how much I have done now. Look at the detail in that. I'm gonna try and hold it and block my face at the same time so I can point out the detail. Look, the ball is almost complete. All of this is done. I think I had like that much done. So you'll see with the before picture, but look at all that. Now I get to the yummy stuff of her dress, her blouse, and the wings. Oh, you guys, it was so much fun. Every time she comes out in rotation, I'm so excited because I know this one, she is very confetti heavy because look at all the detail that comes out in such a small piece. But I kept with my rule of doing 400 to 500 stitches before I move to another piece in my rotation. So that means I get a good bit done and I'm super happy with the result. She is turning out to be fabulous and I'm really, really enjoying her. I couldn't be happier with her. Such a joy to stitch, you guys. All right. Next up is another long-term UFO turned whip. Her name is Ayanna. And here's this beauty. Okay, did you see all those fingerprints on my screen? Oh my goodness gracious. So here's Ayanna. So another piece with a lot of black. I seem to like the pieces that have a lot of solid background stitching colors. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. Anyway, so because of all that, I didn't get much done. I did get my number of stitches that I wanted to, so I'm going to fold it this way so I can get closer. I did get the number of stitches that I was required to before I moved on in my rotation. So you will see there is some sporadic other color stitches so that I wouldn't have to stitch only the black. So I would do one length of the black, then I would move on and do some confetti stitching in the rest of the diagonal. Then I'd do a little bit more black until I reached my goal of 400 to 500 before moving on to another piece. Let's see, next, and this is the final piece where we're work in progress that I have to show you today. It is Sunflower Bee, and still in a area where there's not a whole lot going on. So it's a quicker stitch. There we go. It doesn't take me very long to get the 400 to 500 of my ideal stitching done. But I did complete the diagonal almost, right? So a lot of gradient shading going on there in the upper corner of the piece, which, you know, I'm hoping that it will soon get a little bit more interesting, but I'm still enjoying it. This one I'm actually doing 20 across diagonals because I really wanted to get through it. So maybe when it starts to get more detailed, I'll switch back to 10 across diagonals. So yeah, so those are the pieces that I worked on in the last couple of weeks. You'll notice that I don't have, because like I said, some days I will get to stitch, sometimes I won't. And that's why there's not one for every day, because technically if you take out there's 7 days in the week, you take out 3 for my focus pieces, that leaves 5. So technically I should have 10 other whips to show you, but I don't, because some days it takes me more than one day to do my 400 to 500 stitches on a piece, because I still have to do my daily 100 for my silver piece. I believe he's downstairs in the basement, so I think I can talk about it now. So as I mentioned before, for that silver anniversary piece, there was in the charting, there is like just around the edges of our faces, you know what, I think I can show you. Just around the edges of where our heads are, there is, whoops, wrong way. There was some Krynic, and I decided I didn't want to do that. And then that same Krynic went into his white shirt, so it kind of blended. So the fabric that I'm actually using for it is like a gray marbled kind of thing, and I think it looks really nice. So there will be, because in that picture you can't really tell where the background is and where his shirt is. So when I actually stitch it, I think it'll be much better because the fabric that I chose is a kind of a marbled look to it. But I decided that I didn't want to do the Krynic. One, because it is so hard to stitch with. 2, I didn't think it needed sparkle. We sparkle on our own. We don't need extra sparkle. I'm joshing with you. All right. So I decided instead that I wanted to try a couple of different things. So I went to Michael's and I picked up a couple of things, and I got 2 other options. There was like the flat white, and I was like, no, we need something a little bit more special. Not as special as Krynic, but not as dull as just plain old white. So the first one I found was the satin floss, the DMC satin floss. You can't really see that. Maybe I need to, oh, hang on. Let's do this. Can you see it now? Okay, so the DMC, okay, you know what I'm talking about. So this is the S5200, S5200. It's not bad. It has a nice little sheen to it. So this is one option, but then I also picked up the DMC Diamant, and this one actually has a little bit of tinge of sparkle to it. So I'm gonna do a batch of both and see what I like. I have a feeling this one might be easier to work with than the satin floss. So, but this one does have a little bit of sparkle in it, not as much as the Krynic for sure. So my plan is, I'm not gonna do that around our heads, but I'm still gonna do his shirt. So I'm gonna do a section on a different area in the fabric and see which one looks better. This one or this one. So I'm gonna try both and see which I like. So I'll let you guys know what I come up with. So basically what I'm saying is that I'm just for sure, because in this picture you cannot tell where his shirt is and where the background is. So his shoulder is like right here and right here, of course. So the cry neck in the chart, there's a lot in his shirt, and then there's like around us like that. So I'm not doing that part because that just seems unnecessary, but I am going to use it whatever floss I decide to choose. I'm going to do it in his shirt to kind of make it pop a little bit more. So that is what I have to share with you today. I always mean to mention, and I never do, I do put it in my little introduction that if you want more frequent updates, follow me on Instagram. I always post there. And also more recently, I have been getting back into updating my blog. I'm going to do monthly updates. So I just uploaded my update on the month of September. So you can go on there to see what I've been doing. If you want closer pictures of my work and you want a little bit better idea of it all there. So I will do that. I will update you when I figure out what I'm actually going to do. But yeah, I'm going to just push forward and continue working. I have to say the whip rotation that I've currently got going on seems to be working. I get a lot of variety alongside my regulars, which I kind of need because I find with me a lot of the time, I just get so bogged down if it's the same piece that I'm working on all the time. So having these extra whips to look forward to through the rest of the week, as well as having my regular ones to work on, I find it super helpful. And that way it gives me an opportunity to touch all of my whips. So coming up in the next 2 weeks, you'll see a bunch of different whips that aren't on, let's see what's on the list. So we just finished, today is what, October, okay. So yeah, coming up are all the ones, a lot of the ones that I didn't even talk about at all today. So that's really, really great. And I'm going to continue using the Silver Project as my daily 100 plus. And of course, on the 24th and the 25th of October, I'll be bringing out my Christmas piece again. And it falls on a day of my regular rotation pieces, my focus pieces. So there'll be a lot of overlap in there, which is why it carries me over into my regular days. So some of my whips may not happen on the day that they're supposed to happen. It's a big process, but it'll get done and I will get to stitch on lots of fun stuff. I'm really liking how I'm doing it now. It makes me happy. The variety keeps everything very interesting for me. And you know what? I am doing really well about not stressing if I don't get a day of stitching done. I'm not worried about the whips at all. It is the Silver Project that is kind of in the back of my mind that I really have to make sure that I keep on top of, because you guys, it is a large piece and I have a few years to go, but if I don't keep on top of it, I'm not gonna get it done in time. And you know what? I think I just need to think that, you know what? That's all right. Maybe it won't be for the 25th anniversary. Maybe it'll be for the 30th anniversary. I'm not going to put pressure on myself because I know I won't enjoy the process. And then all I'll remember when I give it to him is like, oh my God, I hated working on this piece so much, but here you go. So I don't want that to happen. So the goal is for our 25th anniversary, which I still have 4 years because this is 2021. We celebrate our 25th in 2025. So I still have enough years to get it done. We'll see. Anyway, it has been a blast chatting with you guys and having you catch up on all my works in progress. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I have to share, and I'm really going to try to get another Stitch With Me in at some point. I don't know when, because as you can see, I've got my hands full, but I really want to get another Stitch With Me in there, and I really, really enjoy that you guys are coming and watching me every time, and I couldn't be more thankful. So thank you guys very much, and I hope you have a wonderful time stitching with me while you're watching this video. I hope you got your stitching out, and it's been lovely. Bye now.